Now let's return to Egypt and that news that the Muslim Brotherhood's Mohammed Morsi has been declared president. Professor Bob Bowker is a former ambassador to Egypt. He's an adjunct professor with the ANU Centre for Arab and Islamic Studies, and he joins us now from Canberra. Many thanks for your time this morning.
Good morning.
We have seen those very jubilant scenes in Tahrir Square, but of course, you know, it wasn't that. It was a 51% to 48% outcome. Does that suggest to you that the country is still fairly divided?
Well, there's certainly division at the social level. There was great anxiety among the supporters of Shafiq that they would not be able to secure the victory. But on the other hand, Morsi is saying all the right things. He's talking in terms of addressing the Egyptian people collectively. He's at pains to reassure all segments of the population that the Brotherhood intends to govern for the population at large. And I think he'll make good on that, particularly while things are in a very fragile political condition, and while the much of the negotiation about the rules of the game still has to be conducted with the military.
And that's such a great point. And we can go to Tahrir Square now, where we see those wild celebrations overnight. And of course, there had been that very strong build-up because there were grave fears by so many of those people, those tens of thousands out there, that in fact the military would still try and bring some influence in terms of the outcome of this election. So where do we sit now with the military?
Well, I think the military has managed to produce a package with the Brotherhood by which they allowed the Morsi victory to be realised. But at the same time, they have made it very clear that the allocation of power between the Brotherhood and the military is something which will remain skewed in the military's favour. The critical debate now moves to the values to be reflected in the Constitution, the makeup of the Constitutional Assembly, and the timing by which any introduction of the new Constitution and subsequent elections will take place.
Just pausing for a moment, Dr. Bowker, just to listen to those scenes. I mean, this is nearly close to midnight, and they have been going on for some hours now. So as you can see, just music, celebrations. How many of those people out there, Dr. Bowker, do you think, though, would be more radical? We know that within the Brotherhood, the Muslim Brotherhood, there are some very radical elements.
There are, and further to the right, if you like, you have the Salafist side of the Islamic spectrum, who are very neo-traditionalist in their thinking and their attitudes to such things as gender matters, but we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that Egyptians generally are very conservative on social matters, and their political aspirations are something which will undoubtedly reflect that.
What about the prospects for this country now in terms of economic rebuilding? Because that would seem to me to be the most critical if there's going to be any political stability.
And that's their greatest concern, quite frankly. The Egyptians are facing an economic and a financial crisis over the next couple of months. They're down to less than 3 months import coverage. They have to refinance their borrowings during July. They'll have to find $1.7 billion to do that. And quite frankly, at the moment, it's not clear where that money is going to come from. And until there is a coherent agreement between the military and the Brotherhood, and some means by which any economic policy program can be given popular endorsement, it'll be very difficult to get the IMF and other donors to come forward with financial assistance for Egypt.
Professor Bowker, many thanks for your insights this morning.
Thank you.